Vicario, 6s all round from us, 5.8 from you guys out there.
Oh, nice.
Very close in the ratings. Look, I think that he made one incredible save, which I'm sure he gets an extra rating for.
Yeah.
Apart from that, should have done more with the Ryan Cherky goal. And yeah,
is that an error? Is it a mistake or just?
It's not an error. It's not an error. He just should have done better.
Yeah, which is frustrating because those are the kind of things you associate Vicario with being good at dealing with, and I thought he didn't deal with that goal fantastically. I thought he was too slow to get to. I know it took a slight deflection, but I thought he could have done better with it.
I mean, apart from the save and the 2 shots on target that they had, I mean, I don't think he had to make another save throughout the game.
No,
did he?
he didn't. I think a lot of it was due to poor finishing, I thought, from City, because they had chances. He also was lucky not to have been lobbed by Haaland in the first half, which Haaland puts on the roof of the net as well.
Yeah.
He does get a touch on the Semenyo goal. Unfortunately, he just doesn't get enough of it to save it, but he was unfortunate with that one. But that save was a world-class save, and he has to get credit for that. Well, that's up there with one of the saves of the season, I would say.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, yeah, gets credit for that.
I couldn't believe that the ref gave it as a goal kick.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't complaining, but I couldn't believe it.
I was shocked, and Cherky was just as shocked.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Who do we have next? Next is João Palhinha. You guys have given him a 7. We've given him 8s all round. And with João Palhinha, I think he's really getting acclimatized to this role now at right centre-back. And the challenges he puts in, the leadership ability that he shows, the way he can play it out the back as well, because a big criticism of João Palhinha is when he plays in midfield, he's just not a progressive passer enough, or he can't play those passes forward. But when he's at centre-back, he seems to be so much more comfortable at doing it because he's got all that space to do it with. So I'm loving his performances at centre-back.
Yeah, I thought in the first half, actually, when he was a right centre-back, when he was kind of getting forward and he was in that Porro role sometimes, and he obviously just doesn't have the quality that Porro does he? So he was struggling to kind of find any sort of crosses in the box. He did have one decent ball into Solanke's chest, which Solanke was able to make something out of. But I thought he was actually better when he was actually just a proper centre-back in the second half, where he could just concentrate on defending, and his passing was just basically kept simple for a lot of the game. And he just looked a lot more comfortable when anyone was like dribbling at him, he was just bam, right into him, taking no prisoners. And I thought his challenges were absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I thought he had a really strong second half. I thought first half was also decent, one of our better players, but I thought he actually looked more comfortable in the second half, and it was such a great performance and really stood up in a moment, as you say, half time. Romero's off, we have Van der Ven injured, Danto's injured. You're like, oh my god, how are we gonna cope? And thanks to Palhinha, he really stepped up.
If we keep João Palhinha after this season, he's got to go into the leadership group, in my opinion. He has to. He's one of those players that just commands respect on and off the pitch. So, yeah, I'm loving João Palhinha. 7 out of his 8 duels he won yesterday as well. So, a monstrous display from him. Up next, who have we got?
We have Romero.
Cuti Romero, 5.5. So, you've given him a 4. I've given him a 5. I mean, yeah, look, he only lasted 45 minutes, didn't look comfortable from the off. I thought Ryan Cherky was taking him for a bit of a ride at times as well. You know what, Romero, when he's on it, particularly in the big games, he's always so aggressive, overly aggressive sometimes at times, and he's kind of geeing up all his teammates, and you see it in his eyes. You see that kind of fire in his eyes, and you just didn't see any of that yesterday, and it was just a bit lackluster and an underperformance from him.
Yeah, reportedly as well, he was suffering with illness before the Frankfurt game, which Frank actually confirmed. So he said he soldiered on in the Frankfurt game and got through it, and he was actually obviously brilliant in that game, wasn't he? And then in this game he tried to soldier through it again and just wasn't able to. So I've got some sympathy for him if that's obviously the truth, but he was just completely off the pace. Cherky was running rings around him. Haaland got in behind him for that one chance which he should have scored.
One out of his 5 duels.
One out of his 5 duels. There you go. He was split open for the second goal as well. He was just off the pace, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So can't really give him. But look, he was ill, so I don't know how much to criticise him.
Yeah. Next up is Radu Drăgușin. You guys are giving him a 5.2. Sim's giving him a 4. I gave him a 6. I mean, look, he did have his hand in both the goals that we conceded. I mean, defensively, he seemed a bit all over the show in the first half. The passing out the back was horrific. Obviously, one of the goals comes from it. and also Ryan Cherky, as well as gives Romero a ride. He gave Radu Drăgușin probably an even bigger ride. But where I give him credit for is the way he responded to that in the second half. Obviously, it was a system change. And I think the way he handled himself in the second half, he gets a lot of credit for that for me, because he's up against Haaland, and we all know how good Haaland is. And I thought, he stood up to that challenge really well and gave Haaland hardly a sniff in that second half. So he's got to get a boost in his ratings for that second half performance.
Yeah, he does, and that's why he's a 4. Because I thought he was absolutely atrocious in the first half. It's hard to really look past it. He was had a major part to play in 2 goals, in my opinion. The defending for the first goal was atrocious. You've got to get near him. You've got to block that shot. You can't just stand and admire him, especially a guy like Cherky. I thought the hesitation cost us, especially that Cherky wasn't even moving that quickly. It was quite easy to block that shot, and he didn't do it. The second goal, his pass on his left foot. I mean, to be fair, I don't know how much I blame him totally for it, because is it Frank's decision to play him in that position? And we know he just doesn't have a left foot, and we saw that with the second goal, that pass. But at the end of the day, he played the pass. It was a shocking pass, and obviously Rodri took full advantage of it, and he got absolutely spun for that moment where Cherky forced Vicario into the save. He just came diving in, and Cherky did it one. So it could have been another goal. And he got beaten by Haaland for the other moment where he had the lob. So he was all over the shop in the first half, no two ways about it. But credit to him, he didn't let it affect him, dusted himself down and stepped up in that second half, and made sure that we were a lot stronger defensively. He was a lot better, and credit to him. But he was basically like a 1 in the first half, and then probably like a 7 in the second, so 4. Fair.
All right, who do we have next? Next up is Archie Gray. 7s all round from us, 6.9 from you guys. So we're all in sync on Archie Gray. I think at wing back in the first half, I did think he struggled. I think he struggled to make an impact in the game, struggled to get into the game. And I think there were a few defensive flaws in there as well, where Man City maybe should have capitalised on a bit more. Second half, I just think I think I seem to say this a lot with Archie, where he seems to get better and better as the game wears on. And I think he moved to full-back as opposed to wing-back in the second half. And I think he thrived. He really did. He was marauding up and down that right-hand side. He made it really hard to handle for Man City. They just couldn't handle some of the things that he was doing. And I love his work in the tight spaces, like I mentioned before. And I think his link-up play was getting better and better as the game wore on as well. So he dropped to the ground at the end of the game. Hopefully it's not an injury, and hopefully he's all right, because I feel like Archie Gray has taken a massive step forward in his development this season. Yeah,
I think obviously coming in at right back, he's played most of the season at centre mid, where he's definitely more comfortable, but I think he did a really good job, especially second half, considering how young he is and the players he's up against. I thought wing back, he struggled to really find the balance of when to go forward and when to stay back, and he couldn't quite. Also, he was also given the role again of being a wing back, so it's not only is his job to get forward but also provide quality. He just wasn't able to do that. But if you go kind of in the second half, he was kind of finding the balance a lot better, keeping possession a lot better, and all of a sudden they found it very difficult for him to handle. And I think he was battling really well up against Aït-Nouri. All of a sudden, he was kind of doing quite a good job. So credit to Archie Gray. I thought he had a brilliant second half, but first half he did struggle a bit.
Next up, we have got Conor Gallagher, 7.5. I gave him an 8. You gave him a 7. And yeah, I think this was the birth of his Spurs career last night. And he was so aggressive in the challenge. He was driving the team forward at times. Got the assist for Dom Solanke's goal. Wasn't the greatest cross, but puts it in a good area. And Solanke had to just scorpion kick it from behind him, so that's the only way he was scoring it. But I just loved that Conor Gallagher in that second half was a real driving force for us, wasn't he? And I think what we saw from Conor Gallagher yesterday was kind of what we expected to see in the first 2 games, which didn't come.
Yeah, this was the Conor Gallagher we expected, wasn't it? Yeah. And he was absolutely so industrious. What I liked about him was, I feel like in the first 2 games for Tottenham, he's kind of just been playing it too safe. He's been stuck in, but then once he gets the ball, he's just not driving with it. He's just keeping it very simple out wide, not looking to get the ball in between the lines. But I think yesterday, especially in the second half, he was actually winning the ball with a purpose, winning the ball with a thought of, I'm going to get in between the lines, I'm going to get forward, I'm going to provide something, get a cross in or whatever it was. And he really got stuck in. He really provided for the team. So best performance in the Tottenham shirt yet. I don't think it was perfect. I think he's got a lot more to go, but I thought Conor Gallagher was much, much better than he's been in his first 2 appearances for Tottenham so far.
All right. Up next, we have got Yves Bissouma. Sim gives him a 3. I gave him a 5. You guys have given him a 4.8. Maybe I'm being a bit generous on Yves Bissouma, because I think like the way he lost the ball for the goal that we conceded was horrific, to be honest. And it was kind of like what we've been accustomed to seeing from Yves Bissouma. It's a massive kind of downgrade in his performances over the last couple of weeks, where he's been pretty good. Maybe he's the sign of him being comfortable again in the Spurs team. I don't know, but yeah, it wasn't a good performance. I thought we saw some real erratic displays from him and just losing the ball way too easily, way too frequently. There were a couple of nice moments of him on the ball, but they were just a bit too few and far between. So I thought Spurs looked a lot more comfortable in the central midfield when he went off. Yeah,
he was lax, wasn't he? Especially for the first goal, dawdling on it, allowing himself to get pickpocketed. And he was a big part of why as well we were giving the ball away so often and just allowing Man City to dominate that first half, because I thought he was quite passive, Bissouma, giving the ball away as well quite a few times. And he lost the ball in the first goal and then he nearly lost it again. He lost it again, for another moment, which we didn't get punished, and we were quite lucky to. He was kind of out of position for the second goal. I thought second half as well, he was better, but still I thought he was pretty poor, to be honest, in one of his worst games again. So yeah, I wasn't impressed with Bissouma on this game.
Next up, we have got Destiny Udogie, and Sim has given him a 6.
Is that a Paul Coy impression?
Yeah. I've given him a 7. You guys have given him a 6.9. Look, I don't think it was his best display, but we just look so much better with him in the team, and I feel like he just gives us that kind of security down that left-hand side, and he just puts in like a baseline of performance in every week. And I love seeing his physicality. I love seeing him maraud down that left-hand side. Even before we scored the goal, there was a bit of warning signs that Doggy has that shot that Donnarumma was equal to, and maybe he should have cut it across, or maybe just have a better effort on it. But he was growing in influence as the game was wearing on. So I love Destiny, man.
Yeah, I think he had a good game. I just think he didn't really have the quality when he went forward. I felt like Núñez actually dealt with him fairly comfortably. He had a couple of occasions where he actually got the ball in the box, but unfortunately nothing really happened from it. But he was what I like about Dog is he's always an option. He's always there to help support the attack, and that's crucial because it just creates a bit more space for the other players. Just him overlapping creates a little bit more space. So that's a valuable thing. I think the wing-back role definitely suits him. Maybe the more he gets back into full fitness, we'll see him more flying forward, because I feel like sometimes he's holding himself back a bit. Maybe he doesn't want to get injured. But I thought it was a decent performance from Destiny.
Yeah. All right, next up, we have got Randal, Kolo, Muani. 6s all rounds from us, 5.4 from you guys. I think what I saw from Randal yesterday was energy and effort levels, which I've been complaining about a lot before the Frankfurt game. And I think he showed a definite desire to work for the team and work for the cause. I think there was little quality in there, but what he was doing was, stretching the opposition and, always creating an option.
Yeah, I think he worked a lot harder in this game than he has done. I think there was definitely more effort there. I think in the moments where he actually really had to hurt Man City, I thought Guehi actually dealt with him really well. So I thought he got a credit. There was a couple of occasions. I remember one, Gallagher wins the ball, plays Muani through, and Muani just tries to take it past Guehi. He just couldn't manage it. I think Guehi just eased him out. But at least he was a willing runner. He was trying to kind of cause a bit of chaos. But I thought there was definitely a quality lacking, unfortunately for him. And rightfully taken off. And I thought for once Frank made the right subs, taking off Muani and Bissouma.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, we have got Xavi Simons. 9s all round from us. Only 8.3 from you guys out there. You guys are doing Xavi Simons dirty, because he was Spurs' best player, hands down, in my opinion. The hub of the team, so creative, so aggressive. I think he won 10 duels, you said he won in the game yesterday, and it's just something you don't associate Xavi with. In the last few games, he's really nailed that kind of aggressive edge to him. And there was one moment, I think it was in the first half, where we had a lack of numbers back, or maybe it was in the second half. We had a lack of numbers back, and I just see Xavi just darting down the other end of the pitch to provide cover. And this is just what we're seeing from him at this moment in time. Like, never mind the attacking displays that we're seeing from him and what he provides for us on a creative level, and everything goes through him. But from a defensive standpoint, I think he just offers so much to the team as well. So he is becoming such a vital player for us. And finally, in the last couple of games, we're really starting to see the player that we thought we were buying with Xavi Simons. And I said after the Frankfurt game, it's all very well and good doing these performances in the Champions League. We need to see them in the Premier League, and I think this is his best performance in the Premier League in a Spurs shirt. We did say, to be fair, in the preview that if any game is going to suit him in the Premier League, it's probably going to be a game like this against Manchester City, where there is kind of space for him. But he did it. It's in the Premier League, and we just need to see him do it on a consistent level now. He was taking shots. He was providing assists, or he provided an assist. Could have got more assists on the day if the other players finished their job. So he was just everywhere, man.
Yeah, phenomenal. And when he's in this kind of form, people keep telling me, Tottenham need a superstar. Tottenham are lacking stars, and Son and Kane have gone and all this kind of stuff. Well, maybe we've got one right here in our starting 11, because he is a phenomenon. And we were talking about as well how that Gary, who was on Sean's podcast, he was talking about he's the guy who he sees, who he knows about in the training ground, who really does the extra work, and he said he's going to be a really strong player, really good player. I think we're already seeing it. He's starting to struggle with challenges already, and he's starting to get that little bit of edge, that little bit of separation. And you see he earns so many free kicks because he's hard to stop. They bring him down. His dribbling's phenomenal. His eye for a pass as well is getting better and better. I know he could be careless. I know he could be frustrating sometimes, where he's got options, and he either picks the wrong option, or maybe his way of pass can be wrong, but he tries things. He's always looking forward. He's always positive. And you know what? We're 2-0 down, and he never gives up. He's a warrior. He's got an unbelievable mentality. I absolutely love his mentality. The worry for that is, if he continues his trajectory and we continue in our trajectory as a club, he might be looking to leave soon. But that's a conversation for another day. I think his mentality is absolutely brilliant. He was the one in the first half trying to make something happen. And I think he is so positive. He's so great to have on the pitch. And I think he's growing with each week. And yeah, for people saying he doesn't have the physicality to play in this league, I think they're looking like they got egg on their face. Look, I think we watch him play, man. He is phenomenal. Yeah,
he really is. And I think I'm starting to see a relationship build on the pitch between him and Dominic Solanke as well, which is great. I think they play off each other really well. And as well, like, he's a bit of a cheerleader to the fans. He's always going up to the fans and trying to get them to sing louder and stuff like that, and show more support for the team. So yeah,
he's becoming a fan favourite as well.
He's becoming a fan favourite, but I think also at the beginning he didn't seem quite comfortable in a Spurs shirt. I think you're really starting to see him become comfortable in that Spurs shirt now.
Starting to feel the love.
Yeah, absolutely. So Xavi Simons, big up to you. Dominic Solanke up next. 9s all round again. You guys are giving him a 9.2. We draw the game 2-2. He has 2 goals. Obviously, the first one, unbelievable work to get into that position. And then obviously what happened. I even thought maybe it could have been given a Guehi own goal, but look, it was given to Solanke. Was it originally? Yeah.
He changed it to Solanke.
So look, he gets that goal. Great effort and desire to get into that position. The second one is just like, I don't even know if Solanke had something like that in him, to be honest. The way he kind of just caught it with the back of his heel, loops over Donnarumma, is just fantastic. It really is. And some of the link-up play, like I mentioned before, that I'm seeing between him and Xavi, his ability to hold up the ball. I mean, we talk about number 9. He is clearly the best number 9 we have at this football club, and he has just been on fire since returning from his injury, hasn't he? 4 goals in his last 4 games now.
Yeah, we were saying before the game, weren't we, that he's actually been, considering he's been out for 6 months, he's actually looked really good. And I know he looked rusty when he first came in those initial appearances, but he's actually looked quite good for a player that's been out for 6 months.
Yeah.
And so I think we've seen that already. It's now 4 goals in his last 4 starts. I think yesterday was even better. I mean, Frank claims he's still playing about 80-90%.
Is that what he said last night?
Yeah, he said he's still not at his best, sharpest. But, if this is him not his sharpest, I dread to think, he is going to look like at his sharpest, because he's looking like every part of the striker that we signed, that we hope to get. I think there's an argument to say this is the best he's ever looked.
I was about to say, like, I don't think he's looked better than this under Ange.
I think there's definitely an argument to say that. I think, to be fair, under Frank, we definitely played to his strengths more. I think under Ange, he was more like, pressing monster, run yourself into the ground and finish the chances when they come to you. Whereas Frank, he definitely placed him in terms of just go direct into Solanke and get as much as possible, get him to hold the ball up, bring other players into play. And obviously that plays more into how Frank plays his football, where he fights for those second balls. He has the striker hold it up, and that's how he kind of progresses the ball. Whereas Ange much more prefers to progress the ball with build-up and pretty patterns and go out wide and whatever. Very much more central progression, where Frank is much more kind of, I'll go long. I'm not afraid. I'm not scared to do that. And I think that suits Solanke. He's used to that, and he's very good at that. And his elite hold-up play was there on display yesterday. Obviously, he got the 2 goals, but I thought his hold-up play was again on display phenomenally. I thought Kuzanov will be having nightmares about him going forward. Guehi as well at times struggled with him. Once you get the ball. Once you get an accurate ball into him, it's like it's his ball. There's nothing the defender can do. They can try and back into kind of shoulder barge him or use their strength. But Solanke backs himself in every physical duel, and I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. The amount of times as well he just brought the ball down, laid off to Xavi, that chance for Udogie right at the beginning of the half, made from Solanke holding up, giving it to Xavi, him laying off to Udogie, and bam, there's a chance there. And then the 2 goals just shows his predatory instincts, brilliant running behind, and again, strength to hold off Kuzanov. But the touch, if you notice it, that little touch to cut inside, Kuzanov was phenomenal. And obviously, he had the strength just about to get ahead of Guehi and finish it. And then the Puskas goal, we call it the Puskas goal now, the scorpion kick, incredible technique. How he managed to contort his body to get that shot on target and loop it over a goalkeeper as good as Donnarumma, of all people, to get it into the back of the net was one of the goals of the season.
Got a hand to it as well, Donnarumma.
It was phenomenal. It was an absolutely great strike, and look, he was definitely puffing at the end. And again, was it another game where he played 90 minutes where maybe Frank would have taken him off in a different scenario? Well, he did take him off right at the end, but obviously it was in the 90th minute he took him off. Look, it's funny, ever since Frank said, I think it was before the Burnley game, he said, how far is Solanke from, Tottenham managing his minutes? And he said, still very far from that. And since then, he's played 2 90-minute games. So maybe
he also started on the bench one game as well.
He did start on the bench against Frankfurt, you're right, but still, he's played 2 90 minutes, and maybe in a different scenario, he wouldn't have had to. But let's hope this ankle injury he's had, he said he just rolled it, he said he should be fine, but look, this is Solanke. I have to say, it's made a big difference having him. As much as I've criticised Frank for our lack of just going forward and creating chances, Solanke has made a hell of a difference.
Yeah.
So it's fair play to him.
Absolutely. All right, who do we have next? Next up is Mathys Tel. 6s all round for Mathys. You guys giving him a 6 as well, so all agreements there. I think Mathys struggled to get on the ball a little bit. I mean, he was always an option up front, but I think we didn't see too much quality from him on the ball, and he was running around and buzzing around like he always does. I think he was more of a facilitator in this one.
Yeah, I didn't think he had too much of an impact, unfortunately. I think he got on the ball a bit and was always kind of a threat on the counter, but never really got to grips with it. I thought Odobert came on and really kind of was direct and tried to score. I think Tel bit less of an impact, so I'm not saying it was awful or anything, just didn't have as much of an impact.
Yeah. Next up, I'm guessing Wilson Odobert, and Odobert is given a 7 from us, 6.7 for you. Yeah, Odobert had an impact, man. Odobert should have probably scored. I think he was marauding forward against the Man City defence, and I think he's just got that extra bit of confidence right now, doesn't he? Since the last couple of games where he's really made a big impact. And obviously he didn't start the game because of an illness, and he would have started the game if it wasn't for that illness. And I think he came on again and just oozed that confidence, was direct against the Man City back line and got them sweating. He really did have them sweating, and he should have scored. He should have scored, but don't take that away from this performance, because I thought he made a real impact.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good cameo. He was unfortunate on a couple of occasions, both set up by Xavi. Xavi plays him through on the right-hand side. He beats the defender, I think it was Nuri, has a shot, and Donnarumma has to save with his feet. It's a decent effort. I think maybe on hindsight, it was a better chance than he thought it was. He definitely could have found that far corner. And then that other one, Xavi brilliantly bursts down the left-hand side on his left foot, smashes it across the face goal. Odobert throws his body at it. He just doesn't get enough on it, and I think the defender makes a block. It was very, very close. So, he definitely was a threat on the counter as well. In the latter exchanges when we were just bursting forward, we had the numbers. He was just constantly running at them, and he looks confident, man. And he didn't start apparently due to illness. But you know what? He looked fresh when he came on, so fair play.
Yeah, he did. And last but not least, Pape, Matar, Sarr, who came on at half-time. Sim gives him a 8. I gave him a 7. 7.1 from you guys out there. And yeah, he just added so much legs to the midfield, constantly breaking the lines, constantly asking questions of the Man City midfield. And suddenly Pape Matar Sarr comes on and Rodri doesn't have all the space in the world. So I think Sarr was a big impact into that. And yeah, he seems to have a new bit of energy around him, because before he went to the AFCON, whenever we saw him play a bit lackluster display, not the kind of Pape Sarr that we know and love, that covers every blade of grass and is attacking the opposition and driving forward into the opposition half. I mean, we saw all of that yesterday.
Yeah, I really liked what I saw from Pape. Looking more confident, looking like he's got fresh kind of mentality, fresh ideas, because I feel like he was labouring a bit before the AFCON, and maybe when they didn't play so much, and he's come back with fresh enthusiasm to a team that's tiring on its knees, and I think that's really helped. And the second half he was brilliant, came off the bench and really provided, whether he was started on the right, they moved to the centre and made a real impact and just added so much energy, and City struggled to deal with him. So brilliant from Pape.
Yeah, and last but not least is, well, Junai. He hardly had any time, so no rating there. But good to see him make his Premier League debut yesterday.
League debut.
So, I mean, with the lacking of numbers in defence, maybe he can have an impact in the upcoming weeks.
I mean, he only had a few minutes, but he looked all right. Didn't look completely outplaced, but...
Yeah, what a few weeks it's been for him, though. Champions League debut, Premier League debut.
Against Man City, of all teams.
Yeah, Man City, Dortmund, Frankfurt. So, some big teams. So, big future for Junai Biefeld. But in terms of Thomas Frank, I'm going to give him an 8. I think I'll give him an 8. No, 7. I'll give him a 7.
Give him a 7.
Yeah, because look, we didn't win the game at the end of the day, and the first half performance was absolutely dross, and we could have been more than 2-0 down. But he made the changes to swing the game and swing the momentum in our favour, brought Sarr on at half-time, and look, he could have put on even Junai at half-time, or a more defensive player. Or did we even have a more defensive player on the bench, or was it just Sarr? I don't know. But
no, we do well. No.
So he was kind of forced into that change then. But I think the changes that he made at the points in the second half really made a big impact in the game. So I think he managed the second half really well, but he needs to work out why we're starting games in the manner that we're doing and leaving us too much to do in the second half. I think, if we would have played like we did in the second half of the 90 minutes, he would have got a 10.
Yeah, 100%. But at the end of the day, you have to consider how we did play in that first half. And as well, we could have lost it near the end as well, given City got a second win. But then again, given our squad, it makes sense that, we would fall off a bit and nearly lose the game once City made some changes. But I thought first half we were absolutely awful. I thought the setup... I understand why he started in a back three, but unfortunately it was wrong. And it was our undoing, I felt, in that first half. And we just came out with very little intensity, weren't able to get near Man City. But the second half, it did all change. We did have an enforced one with Romero. And you know what?
I don't think essentially it was the back three that was the problem. It was the way we were playing the back three.
I think a bit of both. I think the formation was a big part of why we were playing that way. Because... we couldn't get near them. We were just outnumbered in the middle every time, and we were playing with a back five. It was just pin back, and they were just able to, because we were so scared, and they had like Haaland up front, and that was enough just to pin back our whole back line essentially. and we had like a bat, and they were just popping it around, and it was really hard to watch. So I think it's both. Also, maybe a risk-averse kind of mentality going into it. But second half, that all changed. Once we got the extra midfield on, we went at them. Man City crumbled, and I think, we came out with new enthusiasm, and I think the change he could have done it in a different way. You know, maybe he could have put Gray there at centre back, and he didn't do that. I guess you're going to put a right back. But look, at the end of the day, you put Palhinha at centre back next to Drăgușin, and we look better. And you've got to give manager credit for how we changed it in the second half. And it's perplexing about what the real Tottenham is. Will the real Tottenham please stand up? But we'll see going forward exactly. Well, time will tell, won't it? That's the end of the day. I think the evidence suggests we are more first half than we are second half, because that's kind of what we've seen more of the season. We've been more that team than we have been that second half team. But time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell. And but what's going on here, Sim? Last 3 out of the last 4 games, I think we've both given Frank a positive rating.
Well, we've been better. It's you have to say that. I think the Champions League games, look, for whatever reason why we're better in the Champions League, we have been better. And then against Man City, we turned it around. So, yeah, good stuff. But I still have a lot of question marks about him. And also, every game, like, we need like a worldie to get back in the game a lot of the time, where it'd be a Van de Ven run from his own box, or a Palhinha overhead kick, or a Richarlison doing some madness, or, you know, there's so many worldies we scored this season.
It's true. If you just bring up the kind of goal reel that we've scored this season, people think we're the best team in the world.
You know, it's crazy, the goals we've needed. It's either we need like a Romero Hail Mary, a corner, or a worldie.
I mean, in most games that's true, but I think in this game, I know that is how it panned out, but we could have scored more goals as well with the chances that we did create.
We could have, yeah. We could have. I mean, Odobert had some chances. Udogie had one.
Xavi had that shot, you know.
Xavi is from the edge of the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had definitely had a lot more openings in this one.
Yeah. All right, so that is our player ratings from the 2-2 draw with Man City last night. Got a couple of super chats. First